What if I told you that everything you hate about yourself is actually the key to your greatest power? Stay with me, because what Carl Jung discovered about the human shadow will fundamentally change how you see yourself forever. The discovery that changed psychology. Carl Jung made an observation that shocked the psychological community. He noticed that the traits we despise most in others are mirrors reflecting the parts of ourselves we've buried alive. He called this the shadow. Not evil, not weakness, but the repository of everything we've been taught to reject about ourselves. Here's what Jung understood that most people miss entirely. Your shadow isn't your enemy. It's your unintegrated potential waiting to be reclaimed. The mechanism of projection. According to Jung's research, we spend enormous psychological energy pushing away aspects of ourselves that don't fit our self-image. The ambitious child learns that wanting things is greedy, so ambition goes into the shadow. The sensitive boy is told that emotions are weakness, so his feelings get buried. The powerful girl is taught that assertiveness is unfeminine, so her strength goes underground. But here's where it gets fascinating. Jung discovered that these buried aspects don't disappear. They leak out in 3 specific ways that control your entire life. The 3 shadow manifestations. First, projection. You see in others what you refuse to see in yourself. The person who constantly complains about liars, Jung found they're often hiding from their own dishonesty. The one who judges others for being needy, they've buried their own desperate need for connection. Second, self-sabotage. Jung observed that the shadow has its own agenda. When you deny your anger, it emerges as passive aggression. When you suppress your needs, they manifest as anxiety. Your shadow will find a way to express itself, with or without your permission. Third, the dark fascination. Ever notice how you're drawn to what you claim to hate? Jung called this shadow attraction. The people who trigger you most intensely are showing you your own disowned parts demanding integration. The turning point. Here's what Jung discovered that will change everything. The moment you stop running from your shadow is the moment you become whole. Not perfect, whole. There's a profound difference. According to Jung's theory of individuation, maturity isn't about eliminating your dark side, it's about conscious integration. It's about looking at the parts of yourself you've exiled and asking, what gift are you bringing me? The shadow's hidden gifts. That rage you've suppressed, it contains your capacity for healthy boundaries. That selfishness you're ashamed of, it holds your ability to honor your own needs. That darkness you fear, it's the source of your depth, your creativity, your authentic power. Jung observed something remarkable in his patients. The ones who did shadow work didn't become better people by moral standards. They became more real, more integrated, more fully themselves. And paradoxically, this made them more capable of genuine compassion because they'd stopped projecting their darkness onto others. The process of integration. Here's how Jung said shadow work actually happens, and this is critical because most people get it completely wrong. You don't integrate your shadow by becoming what you fear. You integrate it by acknowledging its existence without judgment. The angry person doesn't need to start raging. They need to admit, I have anger, and that's human. The selfish impulse doesn't need to be acted on. It needs to be recognized. I want things for myself, and that's valid. Jung called this holding the tension of opposites. You can acknowledge your shadow without being controlled by it. That's the mark of psychological maturity. The final transformation. According to Carl Jung's lifetime of research, there comes a moment when you stop fearing your own darkness, and in that moment, something extraordinary happens. You become dangerous in the best possible way. Not dangerous because you'll harm others, dangerous because you can no longer be manipulated by shame, dangerous because you see through false morality, dangerous because you've integrated all of who you are, and that wholeness makes you unstoppable. Jung discovered that the people who've done their shadow work are the ones who can sit with discomfort, who can hear criticism without collapsing, who can acknowledge their mistakes without self-destruction, who can stand in their power without apology. The truth about light and dark. Here's the final piece that makes everything click into place. Carl Jung said the enlightenment isn't about becoming pure light, it's about making the darkness conscious. The sun at midnight, he called it. Illumination born from embracing both sides of your nature. Your shadow isn't something to conquer, it's something to integrate. And when you do, you stop being at war with yourself. You stop leaking energy through suppression. You stop projecting onto others. You become whole. This is what Carl Jung discovered about the shadow, and once you understand it, you'll realize that your darkness was never the problem. Denying it was. The most powerful version of yourself isn't the one who has no shadow, it's the one who has learned to dance with it.